continue to ask your prayers on Sally. We lift up Nancy Day to you and thank you for her presence among us and this new procedure which seems to be really working. Ask your prayers on each and every member of this congregation, and we will understand the fragility of life and how each moment is so important, and that we need to take advantage of each moment every day, Lord. Something that we won't be able to do when we get to heaven is talk to other people about you, because everybody there will know you. So help us, Lord, in each and every moment of our lives. I pray for this message that perhaps something that I say that you would lay on my heart today will touch someone. But more especially, Lord Jesus, we are here to give back to you and to say thank you for this amazing day. In Christ's most holy and precious name we pray. Amen. So, 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is often called the love chapter. I bet this is the most well-known and most widely used and quoted chapters of the Bible, much less the New Testament. We hear it read at weddings and funerals alike, and most of us memorize it when we're children. It's sort of like if somebody starts the Pledge of Allegiance or the Lord's Prayer, they start the 23rd song, you find yourself just joining right in. It is found in the first epistle or letter to the early Christian church in Corinth, Greece. It was written by Paul, the apostle, and Sosthenes, while they were both in the ancient Greek city of Ephesus. Now here's a sidebar. Honest and truly, if I had no faith in God or belief in Jesus as my Lord and Savior, I think learning and reading about Paul would absolutely change the landscape for me. All of us have someone that we're dying to meet in life. Last year, a gentleman showed up in Kimberly's band room, and she walked over and she says, "Did anybody ever tell you that you look like Joe Namath?" And the man looked down at her and he said, "Ma'am, I am Joe Namath." That had been her hero all growing up when she was a kid. So there's somebody in life, for me, it's Paul. And when I get to heaven, I'm looking forward to sitting down and asking him a lot of questions and getting to know him. Now, I imagine that I'll have eternity on my side, because if you study Paul, if you read Corinthians, if you read his letters, they go on a bit. Some of those sentences are what our teachers in grade school used to call run-on sentences, and they just go on, and you have to really unpack that he's the guy that I really want to meet. And I think probably because he started life as Saul from the city of Tarsus. He was a very educated first century Jew, and he was dedicated to killing Christians anywhere and in any way that he could. He brutally hunted them down and then publicly executed them. That is no different from what we heard being spoken about last Sunday from this pulpit. That's what's going on with ISIS and the other anti-Christian terrorist groups around the world. His transformation was so complete. His love for his Lord and Savior and his love for the world around him was so unconditional that he was willing to rot in jail, endure terrible torturing, and even was willing to die a brutal death so that he could shout to the world about God's love. He never looked back. Being Greek, Aleopolis, I was interested in the Greek mythologies when I was growing up. There's the story of Orpheus. Orpheus is in love with Eurydice. There are operas written about this. Orpheus, she's so beautiful, she dies. He doesn't know what to do. He goes to the oracle. The oracle says, you have to go down to Hades and ask for her back, but on one condition. You ask, you sing her beautiful music, you charm it, and then you walk out and you trust that she's following you, but don't look back. Orpheus goes, he sings, Hades is charmed, he says, here she is, and he starts back to the land of the living, and he can't stand it, he has to look back. And in that moment, Hades grabs her back for eternity. Paul did not ever look back to his old ways. He did not give Satan the opportunity to snag him again. I think it's interesting when we call this chapter, the love chapter, how we throw that word around in life. Hey dude, I love you. I love going shopping. I'd love to go with you, David, but I have an appointment. Love that car, man. Love you too. That word gets to mean everything and anything that we want it to mean. On and on it goes. In ancient Greek, there were actually 6 words, all different variations on the word love. Interesting thing, I studied a lot of other languages because of my profession as a singer. And And it's interesting how we have one word for multiple things, and many of these languages have more nuanced words. So number one, eros, which described the relationship between a man and woman in that beautiful sanctity of marriage. That was the sexual passion. We have ludos, which was playful love. I decided when I get my next wiener dog, I'm going to name him Ludos, because the ones I have now are so playful. Pragma, or pragma, meant long-standing love, and that comes into English in our word pragmatic. Philautia, me first love. Our society today is full of that. Kimberly is often talking about the world that we live in as having a website as www.meism.com. Philia, or phileo, was the deep, abiding love of friendship, and it shows up in our English words like Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Or, if you are one of my students at Palm Beach Atlantic University, you know I have one of those little fighter fish. He's a blue beta, and he's the color of the university's sailfish. And I tell all of my students that I have brotherly love for him. And they go, well, what is that? I say, it's phileo fish. And if you don't go to church and you don't go to Palm Beach Atlantic, you don't get the joke. And then finally, the Greek word perhaps that we use the most is agape. This translates as love for everyone. It's used to describe God's love for us. This is the word in ancient Greek that is used in both Paul's letters to the Corinthians, both of the letters. Agape refers to that kind of unconditional and transforming love that God has for each of us and that we should have for each other. That's the kind of love that Paul is speaking of in this chapter. That's the kind of love that Paul showed to the world even to the end, and continues for 2,000 years to show the world. It is this agape that we are hearing about in 1 Corinthians, obviously, and in verses 1 to 3, Paul says to us, you might be able to speak using great and mighty words or concepts. We might have the gift of foreseeing the future, be able to see cause and effect, think critically. We might even give all of our money, wealth, and time away to worthy, world-changing causes. We might be willing to martyr ourselves, even to the point of death, for our beliefs. Perhaps we even have the deep kind of faith that can work what we would call modern-day miracles. But if you don't have the kind of love that God has for us, the love that has absolutely no conditions or reservations, the love that is for everybody, no matter who they are or what they have done to us, we are a big nothing. We do not all come from families that showed us that kind of unconditional love. I can tell you that I did. But I am in a university where I run into students constantly who cannot say that their mother or father loved them unconditionally. And that bitterness taints how they treat fellow students, faculty, and ultimately will taint how they treat the world at large. There's a filter that is there because of the frailty and the sin of the parent. But God doesn't have that. There is no filter in this kind of love. If we can get our brains around the fact that the best things we do in life are still not worthy of His love, and yet He continues to love us. Remember the old math concept of multiplication by zero? When my beautiful Clara, who's with us this morning, was in 6th grade, I was helping with her homework one night. She was getting tired and super frustrated because she was the kind of student that if there were 200 equations required by Monday, and we were on 198, and I said, I've got to call it, we're tired. She said, Dad, it's an all or nothing. I got to finish the other two. So the equation that night went something like this. 2,236 times 856 times 93 times 4,739 times 0 times 459 times 19,356 times 8 and on and she was frustrated. So we took a breath and I pointed to the 0 in the middle of the equation and we both laughed. It really was that simple. Paul, in essence, is telling us to go ahead, knock ourselves out being the greatest friends, the greatest physicians, the greatest lawyers, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, caretakers, business partners, teachers, performers, humanitarians that the world has ever known. Go ahead, be Superman of the world. But without this agape love, it adds up to a big fat zero. If we don't experience and truly know God's miraculous love and his life-changing love. Paul continues to explain in greater detail then the qualities of this agape, this God-like love, and how we should live this out. He reminds us in verses 4 to 7 that we are to be humble, self-effacing, super patient when putting up with things that bug us about our friends, our pastors, our teachers, people on I-95, our parents, our family. We are to be super slow to get angry and super quick to rejoice when we see that others are doing the right things and walking in truth. Verses 8 to 10 remind us that everything else in life is temporary. Where did we find that out this week? Life is but a vapor. And every second of every day we have the opportunity to share that love with other people. And we don't know when the next second will be. It's here just for a moment. This moment is here maybe for a season. God's love, his agape for us, and our agape for each other will last, sort of as Buzz Lightyear said, to eternity and beyond, not infinity. No matter how much we think we know about life, love, and the world around us, we really only know the tiniest fragment of what God knows and what he has in store for us. It's interesting to hear back from Mark, the surrogate for Jack, about the doctors that surround him using the word miracle or words like, wow, continue to pray to that God that you worship because it seems to be working. It's interesting that even in this dire moment of near death, Jack continues to minister and show God's love without saying a word. You know that old expression, preach Jesus every moment of the day. Just only use words if they're necessary. It was easy for us as children to look at the world as a safe, loving, and nurturing place of constant and ever-changing wonder. When we watch the kids on the fourth Sunday or third Sunday when we do the sensibility offering, and they're running down the aisles, and they're having fun going up and down, and they're jiggling the change, and it's just such a moment of, wow, I remember when life was like that. They take everything in around them as some great new adventure. It's like the cat stalking, the lizard on the wall. It's like this huge adventure going on. It's true that as we get older, we do lose some of that childlike optimism and the reckless abandonment about life. But we should replace it with a deep and abiding love for each other that is not just based on physical attraction or what feels good in this moment. Playfulness, perseverance, our own egos, or just doing the right thing. How many times we feel that if I do the right thing, it's going to be great. It's not about that, folks. There's so much more. We should desire to wrap ourselves and others in this same fierce love that God has for us. His love, which is at once unconditional and uncompromising. At the end of the chapter, Paul lists 3 things that are going to outlive each of us and that will live far into eternity. We've all been quoting it since we were in grade school. Faith, hope, and of course love. Hebrews chapter 11, Paul says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and it's the assurance about what we do not see. Okay, faith is really believing in that to which all the foreseeable evidence points. Example, I started life as a pianist, so you know me that I played the keyboard. I sat on the piano benches. I sat on the piano bench at Carnegie Hall a year and a half ago when I played the piano there for a concert. I sat on the piano bench here, there, the the organ bench, the one in my office, the one at home, the one in the fellowship hall, all over the world have sound piano benches. And never once have I worried that when I put my little chubby frame down there, that it's going to collapse underneath me. Why? Because all the foreseeable evidence for 62 years is that that bench is not going to break. All of us are surrounded by things every day that we don't think about and simply take for granted. The floor supports my weight when I get out of bed in the morning, right? I'm in Florida. It's a concrete slab. It's not even a wood frame house. The sun comes up every day, right? It comes up in the east and it goes down in the west. Water comes out of the tap unless we get a notice to well. Electricity powers everything. Wow. Talk about trusting in something that you can't see. Yet we see the evidence and the presence of electricity, its power and its results. And we totally believe it's there. Hope, according to Mr. Webster, is a feeling of anticipation and expectation. Hope is the desire for something to happen. As a verb, it means to expect, but with confidence. Therefore, I challenge you guys that during our weeks ahead, we expect of ourselves that we will treat others as we want to be treated. We will expect our prayers to be heard, and you must expect to know and see God to show up in every day of your life, in every moment of your life. Even when the answer that He brings is not the one you necessarily want or that you think you deserve, you must expect Him to show up in your lives. But overriding all of this is agape. It is love for ourselves, our families, our co-workers, our country, its leaders, and the world around us. We are commanded to love both the lovable and the seemingly unlovable. And now these three things remain: faith,